I call this meeting to order of the Trading Card Preservation Society. On today's episode, we have Kris Bryant Autographs scandal, a Bo Jackson autograph card scandal, lots of scandals tonight. 2015 Topps opening. Go ahead. What?
Yay, scandals.
Yes.
We love scandals.
Topps 2015 opening day. I know we've all been waiting for that. Sell sheets are live. Topps is selling some incredibly stupid products.
No.
Yes, believe it or not, we're gonna talk about movies we like, music that's been inspiring us, video games we've been playing. Get started. My name is Matt F. I'm the writer of Heartbreaking Cards of Staggering Genius. Started the website A Pack to be named later, which has like 50 different writers on it, opening packs every day. And I'm joined by
Dave. Yeah,
Dave the cardboard junkie.
The cardboard junkie right here. Like I said, my name is Dave. On the interwebs, I am known as Dayf, D-A-Y-F. That is a college nickname. Long story short, imagine a German gentleman saying the name Dave.
I never knew that. Wow, that's interesting. Dave.
Yeah, there's been a lot of confusion about my name, but that is what it stands for. It's I took German in high school and college, unfortunately, and basically our college buddies' nicknames for each other was saying each other's names in wacky accents. So I got the German accent, and it was about that time I had to choose a internet handle for my first Hotmail account. So Dayf was what ended up.
Do you still have that email?
Hotmail, no, because Microsoft. I had it forever, but
oh, you did.
Microsoft started bouncing inactive accounts, and by inactive, if you hadn't logged in like 2 weeks. So I had all of my email from 1996 flushed by friggin' Bill Gates. So, so that's about the time I went to Gmail. So. And
you're at Card Junk on Twitter?
I'm at Card Junk on Twitter and cardjunk.blogspot.com on the interwebs. That is my blog. I started it up in 2006, basically inspired by Ben Henry, who we will be talking about later today. I liked reading his card blog, and then I realized, oh wait, I can do this too. So
I was wondering if you were in before him or after him, but you were inspired by him.
I think Ben was the first card blogger, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Stale Gum has been on the internet for forever. I think the mid '90s.
Right, on forums, right? On forums.
Forums, and I think he had a website, but I'm not entirely sure about that. But Ben was, I think, the first big baseball card only blogger. There was what was that called? Cardboard Heroes. Yeah, that was out for a while, but Ben was the guy who inspired me and a few other people to finally jump in around that first golden age in 2006, 2007. And now I'm posting like once a month, but I'm on Twitter a lot, so too much probably. But you can find me there and here.
Yeah, I'm at _Matt F on Twitter, heartbreakingcards.com. My inspiration was 2008 was basically your blog, so the chain of inspiration continues.
Exactly.
So we know each other basically through trades to start with, I would say, and just sort of following each other's blogs.
Yeah, reading each other's blogs
interwebs.
and sending a few cards here and there.
Yeah.
And recently, you moved down to my sort of neck of the woods. We're about an hour and a half drive away from each other, but we're still in the same city technically.
Yeah, right. Yeah, in Atlanta, and so we've seen each other a bunch of times at card shows. Atlanta is a great city for card shows, and each week there seems to be one around somewhere. But we met up a couple times, and this is sort of the spawn of our meetings. A card podcast with pop culture mixed in. So, hope you enjoy it.
All right.
So our first topic this evening is Kris Bryant.
And who is that then?
Go ahead.
Who is that then?
Yeah, right. Well-known minor league player, I think minor league player of the year, whose autographs are one of the hottest cards right now. Although I don't think either of us are really prospectors, right?
Unless it's got a Brave logo on it. I couldn't really care less about prospects, because the thing I've learned about prospecting is all of the good ones are inevitably going to be expensive as hell the moment they hit the market, and probably 2/3 of those flop. So I'm more of a bottom feeder collector. I like getting bargains more than I like having good cards, if that makes sense. Which is probably not the best collecting strategy, but hey, you know what?
It's a strategy.
It's a strategy. I mean, we can't all be whales. Some of us have to be catfish.
I mean, we meet each other in card shows at the less than $1.
Yeah, exactly. We gravitate towards the dollar box.
Yeah, the less than $1 firm price bin. No negotiations.
So Kris Bryant's rookie card can be found in 2014 Bowman, and it was one of the most popular cards in the set. Time passes.
Bowman Chrome comes. Lo and behold, the same exact card is in both sets. And, the internet explodes. Well, the card going internet explodes. The rest of the world probably doesn't care, but yes. And so what are the implications here, Dave?
To put a card from one set into another set is problematic for several reasons. One of the biggest problems is everybody who went out and bought tons of Bowman thinking that was going to be his autograph, his first good autograph, and especially the people who paid big money for that first autograph, all of a sudden the supply of that card has gotten a lot bigger really quick. So if you do this, it's a bad precedent, because it's basically saying that, oh, hey, we can, if a card is hot, we can just keep putting it into sets to help move those sets. It does cause a lot of confusion in the market, especially when that was a 2014 card, and suddenly a 2013 card pops up.
Right, and when we talked about this before hitting record here tonight, you mentioned that this is sort of the first time that high-end prospectors are feeling the problems that set builders have been dealing with Topps for a long time, many seasons.
Yeah, it's just not knowing what is going to be in a set in any given product. One of the biggest complaints about Topps is the fact that it's really hard to get a finalized checklist before you actually have to put down money for a box. So, I mean, in the olden days, it's a 792 card set. You pay your $20, you get a box of cards, you rip it, you eat the gum. Nowadays, there's 10 different insert sets. There's a whole bunch of autograph relic cards. It's nice before you plunk your money down to be able to have an idea of what's in the product. And that's something that's been a problem with Topps, especially in their base card. Well, not so much their base card, their flagship brand. A lot of times you just don't know what's going to be in there. For the past few years, there have been variations, whether it's pie in the face or a sparkle or a photo variation or a legend variation. We don't get any of that information before the product actually streaks, and I can kind of see why they do it. It does build a little bit of buzz on the great case ripping day. When you follow Brent and Becca on Twitter, and you can see all the variations that pop up. But
well, the problem.
Yeah, go ahead.
One problem is that I really have no clue if a card with a pie in the face means anything anymore. Like, I know it used to mean something, but now I think that it's not a variation anymore. Like, they're just regular cards sometimes that are in sets. There's also the Bryce Harper 661. Anytime there's almost anything interesting in baseball, there's going to be an extra card tacked on or some kind of... Or a hot rookie won't really technically have a rookie card. It'll be some kind of super short print.
Yeah, that's the main issue I have with Topps' base set. I don't really care about the variations. If I pull one, great. Sometimes I pull one and I don't realize that I pulled it for a couple months.
Exactly.
I bought a pack for my son at the card store a couple years ago. He pulled a cool-looking David Price card, and I only realized, a couple months later when I found it on his floor, it was a variation. So the main issue that I have and a lot of set builders have is when they pop on the Bryce Harper 661 that you can only get out of the online game, or you can only get it through a code, or you can only get a short printed variety because they just barely got it into Series 2 or whatever the excuse was. Just don't mess with the base set, and that's fine. They've been better about that. I don't think there was any card like that the past 2 years. So they've got that right. But this whole Kris Bryant thing where you've got the technically first autograph, which is basically the guy's rookie card now. It is nowadays what a 52 Mantle was. Well, that's a bad example because there's a 51 Bowman. But it's basically the 69 Reggie is now the first Bowman Chrome autograph card, on-card autograph. Mm-hmm. And now it's showing up in several different sets. We don't know how many cards there are. I don't believe they were numbered. Maybe some of the refractors or whatever were numbered, but for all we know, Topps could be still printing these things. And I believe...
Conspiracy Theory Dave, I think that's going to be a segment. Conspiracy Theory Dave.
Yeah, just so you all know, I'm a grouchy, cynical jackass, so you're gonna hear a lot of
I sort of go out of my way to post about cards I like.
Yeah,
it's sort of
I'm the troublemaker.
Yeah.
But and that's one thing why Topps is playing with fire here, because if the high end and prospectors lose confidence in them in similar way that a lot of the set builders have done recently, they're in a world of hurt, because that's basically the market they're going for right now. So I can see why they did it. They want to move Inception, and it probably was a good way for them to move products short term. But you got to be real careful with this, because especially if people start getting the idea that they're either printing a boatload of these cards so they can take the good ones and use them as incentives for some of their slower selling products, like I guess Inception and Platinum is normally one that I hear doesn't sell very well. If they start doing that and messing around with with basically people's money, because if all of a sudden there's 100 cards out there and on the initial release, and then a few months later, oh look, there's 500 now, prices are going to drop, and prospects are notoriously up and down. All you need to do is have one arm twinge in the minors, and that can kill the value on some of these cards. I mean, I can see what they're doing. I think they need to be careful and be a little more open about what they're doing. I think they're, if I remember correctly, I'm not 100%, I remember them tweeting or putting in a blog post, if these cards didn't go in, I've already forgotten the name, Inception or...
It went originally into just Bowman.
Bowman, okay. Originally in Bowman, and then whatever the
Bowman Chrome is
Bowman
the second
Chrome,
part.
okay. If they didn't go into Bowman Chrome, they were going to be destroyed, which, I'm sorry, but that's kind of a lame answer.
Topps has a history of destroying cards, so...
Topps has a history of destroying cards, but to say, oh, well, if we didn't do this, we were going to destroy the cards, which puts fear in every collector's heart.
All they would have to do is just stamp it differently, do something, I don't know.
Put a foil stamp on it, do something to differentiate it from everything else. But, here's another option. Instead of destroying them, how about putting them out as replacements for cards that, redemption cards that didn't have anything to send because they never got the autographs or they couldn't get it produced or whatever. Send some of those out instead of the who was it? L.A. Sawyer minor league autographs that they like to send out. Send out a Kris Bryant Bowman Chrome and see how people react then.
So one Conspiracy Dave story leads to another. Earlier this week on eBay, a 1-of-1 Bo Jackson from the upcoming set Topps Dynasty, which is not out yet. 1-of-1 goes for auction. Conspiracy Dave sees a problem in that the Royals are in the World Series. Topps is posting all sorts of Dynasty stuff, and all of a sudden this card appears. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on with this. I mean, the obvious answer is they had Topps finally had the Dynasty cards in hand, obviously because they were showing them all off on Twitter. I remember them showing off a really beautiful Chipper Jones card that I will never ever touch. But then all of a sudden this eBay auction pops up for Bo Jackson 1-of-1 autograph card, which I will say this, the cards look really, really nice. They've got like a black background and a funky like silver photo or illustration or whatever it is, but they look really sweet. I won't say sick because that's their term. But they look nice.
It's a Mojo hit, definitely.
Yeah, it's a Mojo product, but it just seemed kind of fishy to me that this auction pops up with a perfect storm of the Royals in the World Series, and you'll talk about that later. But how in the heck? But Royals legend and.
Now I grabbed the photo when it was still a live auction. We searched for it before we started recording tonight, and it looks like it was pulled down. I didn't find anything in the completed auctions. Now the card itself is, technically it's a White Sox, him in a White Sox jersey, with a patch. But I mean, Bo Jackson's always a Royal in my mind. So
yeah, he's a Royal.
Yeah, it's interesting. I saw lots of people tweeting at Topps, about it. Like, what's the deal here?
Yeah, and Topps replied very quickly. I will say that. So that's what swayed me from thinking, oh, okay, there could be a little bit of marketing business going on to here to, oh, someone actually did backdoor this, and it's a fraudulent auction.
Yeah.
Because Topps appears to have jumped on it very quickly, and I'm not sure what kind of idiot would do such a thing for, the sale of one auction, but there are a lot of dumb people out there, and it does look to me, at least right now, considering that the auction was pulled very quickly, that it was just some dummy trying to make a buck. But I don't know why you risk, if you're an employee there, getting fired or jail time for backdooring a Bo Jackson card. At least go for Mike Trout.
Okay, so one top story, because there's another, and we are more than 5 months out on a March 15th release date of Topps opening day, and sales sheets. I mean, they've already shown the design for the flagship Topps 2015, but it just seems to me that maybe it was just my lack of knowledge that when I was collecting as a kid, that these set designs were released somehow, or people could give a preview of it. But giving away the whole idea of what your set's going to be 5 months ahead of time it seems like ludicrous to me, and it just seems that it's just the marketing of it is all messed up. Have you seen the design for this year?
Yeah, I saw the Topps design.
Yeah, it sort of looks like a fingerprint or something's on the bottom.
I'm not sure how to describe it, but I kind of dig it. This is going to sound strange, but it reminds me of like a Fleer product from the early aughts. Just in the design of it.
I can see that.
Because
I can see that.
Got that whole gradient going from the top to the bottom, where the top is kind of sort of white border, and then it goes down into that funky pattern or whatever, which I can't tell. Is it full bleed at the bottom, or because I've seen a couple pictures?
No,
it looks like
it's not. I'm looking at it. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. It's not a full bleed. It goes to dark, almost like a navy blue, real dark blue.
Yeah, because I remember seeing the Mike Trout card, and it looked almost like the background went all the way to the edge of the card. But again, when I first saw it, I said I kind of liked it, but I need to see it in hand. But I do like that they're doing something a little different than they've done, because really ever since 2006, with the exception of 2004 actually, with the exception of the black border 2007 set, it's just been all white borders for almost 10 years now. So like to see them throwing a curveball.
Yeah, at first when I looked at it, I thought that they had left like the watermark on the card.
Yeah.
Like this is Topps property or something, but it looks like there's some kind of like fingerprint sort of thing towards the bottom like sixth of the card.
Yeah.
Opening day also has some interesting inserts. I mean, that's the only thing I really get out of opening day, other than maybe mascot cards, which is one of my personal favorite collecting things. But it just I don't know if Topps needs to take a lesson maybe from Hollywood in releasing trailers, releasing hints of cards maybe. It's just that I literally, when I counted out the days, we're 156 days out. There's no way you can sustain or build something that far out in terms of excitement. I don't know. Maybe it's just me that bugs me about this, but I think it should be February when they do this. And I know they need to sell ahead of time. And the second anything leaks, I imagine, it's going all over Twitter. It's going all over Beckett News. all over the forums. But I don't know. You got to try to build some kind of excitement. That's like the one thing they have is every year you look forward to seeing what the design is. And I don't know. They need to do more PR-wise, I think.
Yeah, we saw the original 2015 Topps design. When was that, August?
Yep, August.
So, yeah, they are releasing the design very early. Like you said, that's, 6 months out?
Right.
But on the other hand, the sell sheet is not for us. The sell sheet is for the distributors, is for the individual hobby shops, and I guess maybe to an extent to big retailers. Somebody has to be marketing that and just making purchasing decisions on that. So it's the sell sheet isn't for us. And honestly, the sell sheet today is kind of like the old advertising cards that are reprinted in the new heritage products. Those 3-card strips with, hey, retailer, buy this. So sell sheets are for retailers. They're not really for customers or collectors. And you kind of do have to put it out this early just so everybody knows how they're going to spend their money.
I'm sorry, what? Topps doesn't just make cards for card bloggers? I'm sorry, what?
They should, but this is a very dark timeline.
Yeah. The darkest timeline.
I'm not sure. Well, we got to see if the Giants win before we'll know for sure if it's the darkest timeline. But it would be nice if they made cards directly for the customers. But even back in the good old days of the 50s, they were trying to get the stores to buy boxes of cards and sell their gum. So I don't mind too much that they're putting this stuff out 6 months in advance. But as far as opening day goes, the actual set, I wouldn't mind it as much if it was just a little bigger set. 220 cards. I think they could do better for their low end $1 a pack, whatever set. Just because one, they may want to say it's marketed towards kids, but mascots are a insert.
Yeah.
They're not easy to find, so kids aren't going to get a lot of those. It's just like the squirrel card from a few years ago. My son wanted a squirrel card really badly, and then when I told him how hard it is to actually pull one from a pack, that kind of turned him off. But
I love opening day. I sometimes write about it on the blog. It's my favorite set, probably not so much for the base cards, but again the inserts, like a mascot stadium. Let's see, a few years ago there were the glow in the dark 3D ones. I don't know. I enjoy it a lot. I just I don't know how you build more hype towards a card release than they have now. But it's not. I just think they're not helping themselves. So next, another Topps. This is all our Topps block, I guess. If you've ever signed up or bought anything from Topps online, you get pretty frequent emails. And Topps has recently, I'd say in the past year, gotten into the T-shirt market. Really big into the signs, the aluminum signs market, and these are really limited quantities that you can buy. Like for the World Series, let me mention too that we're recording this during Game 3 of the World Series, so if we hear screaming or something, Kansas City did something good. What they recently announced is that now they're moving into the watch market. They announced 3 watches, and they're called Topps Modify watches. of Hall of Famers Johnny Bench, Mike Schmidt, and Nolan Ryan. Topps is the only seller of these, and they retail at $50. Well, $49.99 each. And I am, I don't know. I can't believe it. It's just sort of, I know it's a one-off, and they probably have. I guess I enjoy the idea. They look like, I once had a watch of a sort of an Andy Warhol, sort of like an Andy Warhol print of Mao. It was hot pink, just like the Johnny Bench watch was. It's, I think the idea is sort of like a pop art type thing. 99 watches available. So, I guess you would probably pick one up if there was a Chipper Jones. Is that right?
Who wears watches?
That's a good question.
I haven't worn a watch since high school, so I guess people do, and this is kind of a fun little thing for them to sell. But Topps' website is kind of looking like a cafe press store. But yeah. I don't have a problem with it. If you want to sell, a pop art Johnny Bench watch, that's fine. If you can sell it, good. That's $50 times 99 minus whatever it costs to make a Johnny Bench watch. That's a little more cash in Topps' pocket. That's
What's funny too, I just realized on the website, the photo that they have of the person wearing the watch, they're wearing it upside down. The Johnny Bench is pointed out towards the person if they were looking at the watch. I mean, clearly it's just for the design of it, but the person has the. So basically, when you check your time, you're looking at an upside down Johnny Bench.
Maybe he's double. Maybe he's double jointed. I mean,
this is like if you ever see those Tina Fey commercials for American Express, when she scans her credit card, it's backwards. Like the bar is not. The actual bar is not being scanned. So.
Well, that's the safety precaution to keep people from swiping your card number.
This sort of stuff gets me upset. Sort of like how. I'm not a political conservative, but conservatives get upset with wasteful spending or their focus on the government is not what it should be, and I just feel like, why aren't you making your card set better? Like, what are you doing designing a watch? But, I guess they're a multimedia company, and so, good luck selling your 300 watches. Give me a Rusty Kuntz watch, and maybe I'll...
There you go. Cookie Rojas watch.
Yes.
But, Topps is trying to make themselves into a brand, which they've, a brand with a capital B, which they kind of are. They're basically, when you think about baseball cards, you think about Topps. Unless you were born in a certain period and you think about Upper Deck, but they don't technically exist in the baseball card market anymore, even though they do have a player's license that they're not using. But Topps is making themselves into a brand, which means that that Topps logo can and will sell on different products. And if they want to experiment with making watches, making hats, making T-shirts, that's fine, but like you said, just keep your eyes on the prize and remember that you do make baseball cards too. So, good luck to Topps with their tchotchke selling.
Yeah, right. Keychains and air fresheners. So that closes our first news block. Next, we've got some features on sets that are newly released or in the near future. First up, we have 2014 Topps Update. Take it away.
All right. Update just released, when was it? A week and a half ago?
Mm-hmm.
2 weeks ago. I still have not found a pack at a store. I was hoping to to have a rack pack by now, so I could talk a little more expertly about this. But just between me being too busy to get to a Target and the ones I have been to not having it yet, I don't have any cards in hand. But from what I've seen of the update set, it looks a lot like all the other update sets. At least the ones over the past decade or so. 330 card set. Most of the hot rookies are in there. Topps is probably holding on to a few rookies for next year. So their Top Series 1 and especially the Heritage set have something they can slap a RC logo on. You've got your All-Star cards, you've got your Home Run Derby cards, you've got your Highlights cards, which all allow Topps to throw in all of the main stars in the game. You get your Mike Trouts, you get your Cabreras, get your Kershaw card in update, which annoys Night Owl, but you know, if you're going to buy this thing, you want to have at least the top stars in it. And you can have some rookies and a few, you know, bench warmers and middle relief pitchers in there, which are really one of the draws to the set nowadays for team collectors to finally get that Johnny Venters card for their Braves binder or whatever. I haven't noticed a ton of parallels. I know over the past few years there have been just Parallel City.
Yeah.
They've got sparkles, they've got liquor fractors, they've got all kinds of parallels of a new parallel set from that includes all 990 cards over the entire run, Series 1, Series 2 update. I haven't seen a lot of complaining about parallels, and I know in past sets you would get 2 or 3 parallels in a normal 10-card pack sometimes.
Yeah.
So it seems like the parallels are under control. There's still a ridiculous amount of variations. I think there's photo variations, there's sparkle variations where you have to basically have a photo reference in order to know you have a variation card. And as always, there's a little Topps code on the back where if you get a very high-powered magnifying glass or a microscope, you can read the numbers on the back and determine if you have a base card or a variation card. So,
Yeah.
But the main thing is I think we went 3 full series of Topps without a crazy gimmick card. And I know there are some bloggers who characterize anything that is not on the checklist and is a variation as a gimmick card. But as far as I'm concerned, a gimmick card is the Bryce Harper 661 card, the key rookie to the set that is short printed in packs, or you can get on a code card, or you have to jump through hoops or buy a factory set, and then there's 3 different factory set versions. That's a gimmick card to me. The Johan Santana no-hitter 661 card is a gimmick card to me. There wasn't one this year, so as far as I'm concerned, I give the Cardboard Junkie seal of approval to 2014 Topps.
Yes,
even though
definitely.
the design kind of looks like a manila folder to me, hey, as far as I'm concerned, it's a good set. Way to go, Topps. Go out and collect it. As far as the inserts go, again, I haven't been able to rip open a pack, so I don't know what they look like. But let's face it, Topps inserts have been 2 things over the past 5 years or so. They've either been a reprint of a vintage card, or they've been something boring. And everyone has their favorite sets. I have a few favorite boring Topps insert sets recently, but they're all boring. A lot of them are recycled from older sets. I think last year, all of their insert sets reminded me of 2001's insert sets. So it's really hard to come up with 10 insert sets every year, which is fine. And as long as there's good players on them, and as long as the design isn't atrocious, it's fine. But they're insert sets, and nobody cares about inserts anymore. It's
cards your mother threw away.
Yeah.
Although I must say that it's caused problems. I looked at cards and sorted through things, and I'm completely confused about my rookie cards that I own versus reprints sometimes. Especially the rare ones, which are almost like identical reprints. And it's, I absolutely hate that. You can sort of, it's fine with the old, vintage sets from the 70s where clearly it's not even the same card stock. But, when you're reprinting Ichiro's rookie card, and I'm like, I have to, get the magnifying glass, look at those copyright years at the bottom, and see what the heck's going on.
The silver lining in that is the original back Alex Gordon 2006 card that my mom threw out, even though it was never released technically. That is actually in my 2006 top set, so I can count that complete.
Yes, it gives you a chance. Yeah.
So,
yep,
and honestly, that card right there made me forgive them about the whole 2006 mess. I'm sure a lot of people are mad, but you know what? I got the card. It's close enough. It's going in the set. I got a complete
close enough.
set.
Yeah.
So,
personally, I don't think I've opened a pack of 2014 Topps. So, yeah, my collecting has changed this year. I was a set builder. I think I did 2007 through 2011, I think. I collected everything. Just sort of, I don't know, been uninspired. Other than some inserts and select cards, but... so another... Go ahead.
I've bought, I can count the number of packs I bought on both hands. So, my new pack buying and collecting has gone down big time.
Yeah.
Update is one of those sets that I always tell myself I need to collect this because there's no factory set for Update. So, I don't listen to my own advice, which is why I don't have a Mike Trout rookie card. But Update is one of the sets that I do want to collect and I should collect, but I probably won't because I'm too busy buying 1960 Topps Commons out of the junk box at the card show. So, but yeah, I feel you. And the thing is, there's so much other stuff to collect. There's really no urgency to go run out and grab 2014 flagship when you're gonna find it everywhere. I mean, in card shows, you're gonna be finding boxes of that stuff for a while, and probably for a decent price. So there's no urgency to it.
Well, if you were sad about the number of variations in Topps Update, just move on over to Topps 2014 Stadium Club, and you will find rainbow foils, gold foils, electric foils, foil board, and the legendary members only ultra, one per case variation. So 2014 Topps Stadium Club is back this year. It was last with us in 2008, and although this time it's a little different, it's set up sort of like Topps Finest in mini boxes, 6 packs in each mini box, and each box contains 3 autographs. So you've got, the design is similar to how Top Stadium Club typically is, which is like a full bleed photo on the design. I personally love this design. I mean, I wish, I know that they have to sort of, they don't have to do anything, I guess, but Topps flagship is always sort of a typical way, and Stadium Club is a typical way, and we're talking about, let's see, about $70 a box for Topps Stadium Club right now. And this is hobby only, so you're not going to find this at Target. Yet, yeah, right, I guess, yeah. Are you a big fan of Stadium Club?
I've never been a big fan of it. I like the way the cards look, and I agree with you that this year's cards look very good. They've got the very simple Stadium Club design with basically the name and the logo, and the rest is just full bleed focus on the picture, which is what it's been since 1991. Kodak quality pictures, and good pictures with good subjects and good photography in focus. So it really is a gorgeous looking set. I wish I could go out and buy a couple of packs at Target or whatever just to get my hands on some, but it is a hobby only product, and you can actually only buy the mini boxes, or at least that's the intent. You can't just buy a pack of Stadium Club, and I'm sure there are some hobby stores or dudes at flea markets or whatever, like, breaking the law, and they're selling individual packs. I mean, I've bought individual packs of Finest before, so there's got to be one out there somewhere. But it is technically a high-end product. One autograph per mini box, and that autograph could be a minor leaguer, or it could be a really cool looking Evan Gattis on-card. I think it's on-card autograph. I haven't seen one in hand, but looked on-card to me, and Evan Gattis is wearing a big old bear suit, so that card I personally am drooling over. But it's a good looking card. It's a decent looking set. What is it, 200 cards? Mix of current players and a lot of retired players from Topps' stable of legends. It'd be really nice to get a set, and it looks like they fixed their problem from 2008 where they don't have any short printed base cards. So
right. Yeah, for me, Topps Stadium Club was always something out of my reach. I think at the time when it came out in 91, it was, for me, I think it was $5 a pack maybe at my hobby shop.
It was $5 a pack if you could find it for $5 a pack.
Yeah.
I saw it $7.50, $10 a pack. Now you can find them in 50-cent boxes, but back in the day, it was really the first super high-end product.
Yeah. It's crazy to think that, and really, I mean, I don't want to say that. I just can't believe, like, it's not a yearly thing. I can't believe, like, they can't make this into the, their best-selling product, or something like Allen and Ginter, in which you look forward to every year. But, I think to be honest with you, I don't think the card shop that's closest to me here where I live doesn't have it. I really don't know really where I would go to find it, which is sort of a shame in that I would try to buy something, but just another set that's sort of destined to be. I'll pick up a few cards, I guess, but I'm never going to buy a hobby box.
Yeah. I think one thing that hurt Stadium Club is back in 2001, Topps Heritage came out, and there had been a few retro products in the late 90s, but Topps Heritage was the first one to really take off. And I think a lot of the Heritage, the Topps T206, all the retro products kind of squeezed Stadium Club out of the out of the market, because for years it was that was how every company had their products. They had the base set, they had the mid-tier set, and then they had the high-end, really cool set. Which Tops was Tops and Stadium Club and Finest, and Upper Deck had Upper Deck SP, and not sure what their super high-end was, because I guess
Upper Deck X.
Actually, I think their base would have been Collector's Choice, because that was kind of the low end for them, and then Upper Deck was the second tier, and then SP or SPX or whatever they called it in that year. And Fleer had the same thing with Fleer Ultra, and then their crazy high-end stuff. So everyone had their products in that low, middle, high, and then there were some weird offshoot brands just for fun. But early 2000s, all that kind of went out the window with just so many products coming out. So I think Stadium Club got swamped by all the other products around it, and the fact that people were going crazy over retro products. But yeah, this is a good time for a comeback, because the set looks great and the inserts look great and everything looks great. I just wish I could buy it.
I'll tell you when it died, when it stopped being a club. when it stopped accepting members to the Top Stadium Club. They need to get some more membership cards out there.
Yeah, membership cards and membership boxes and all that fun stuff. So,
music that we're enjoying currently. Now, you're a big electronic music fan.
I'm kind of all over the place musically. Recently, I've flipped over to electronic music, but I originally grew up on Beatles and Stones and Bowie, Elton John, listening to all my mom's records. Kind of got interested in the pop music of the 80s. You grow up in the 80s, you like the 80s pop music. Getting to college, I veered towards punk and alternative stuff, Pixies, Nirvana, whatever. Then went full steam back into classic rock again. And now, after a brief, college radio indie phase, I've jumped into electronic music somehow. And if you look at my MP3 player, you're going to see Boards of Canada, you're going to see Tico, Comtrues, Tobacco, Black Moth Super Rainbow, Quantic, Bonobo. But the dude I'm kind of obsessed over right now is Aphex Twin. If you're not familiar with electronic music, Aphex Twin is the alias of Mr. Richard D. James, musician from Cornwall in England. He was basically came up in the late 80s with the burgeoning electronic sound in England. Came up with a lot of different types of music. One thing about Richard D. James is he's got aliases all over the place. He's got stuff under Aphex Twin, under the name Polygon Window, under the name Caustic Window, AFX, GAC. The Tuss is one of his most recent projects. But Aphex is the one most people remember because of his incredibly influential Selected Ambient Works first album, which is basically a classic. If you want to know what electronic music is all about, just go into YouTube, look for Selected Ambient Works, and go ahead and listen to the album, because it's just an excellent compilation of very danceable music, but also very intelligent music at the same time. There's a lot of different things going on. There's a lot of different textures and sounds, and it's one of the reasons why Richard is considered one of the geniuses of the genre. Well, recently he came out with an album called Zero, which was his first Aphex Twin album since 2001's Drux. But I haven't listened to that yet because basically I didn't want to spoil myself by going on YouTube and just listening to a ripped copy. I wanted to actually have the album in my hand, whether it's a CD or vinyl or even MP3, and just sit down and listen to it all at once on my copy, but I haven't actually picked up a copy yet. But I have picked up an album that preceded this one. Earlier this year, there's a music forum called We Are the Music Makers, which is, the title is basically from an Aphex Twin track on that Selected Ambient Works Volume 1 album, which uses the sample from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory of Gene Wilder saying "We are the music makers," along with the dance track. So this forum, someone on the forum was looking on Discogs and found that an album from one of his other aliases, Caustic Window, had been put up for sale. And the thing with this album is it had never been officially released. And I believe there's only 4 copies in existence. And it had just been sort of a lost album. I believe it was supposed to come out in 1996, but it did not, for whatever reason. But someone put it up for sale, and someone got the idea to buy the album from Discogs for however much it took, and then rip it so they could actually listen to it. Problem is, the album was going to cost several $1,000s. Nobody really has that kind of money to throw around. So they're like, how about we start a Kickstarter to buy this album so we can rip it professionally off the vinyl, and then everybody who donated to the Kickstarter gets a MP3 copy or a FLAC copy or WAVs or whatever they want to use. What started out as a cockamamie idea between some music nerds on a music forum ended up actually becoming a Kickstarter, and once they opened it up to people outside the forum, it spread like wildfire, got pub on sites like Pitchfork and NME and all the big music sites. And I think the final total was over $60,000 was kickstarted for this album. And I was one of the Kickstarters, so I got a copy. And I've been listening to it quite a bit. And it's actually a really good Aphex Twin type of album. There's a lot of tracks on there that sound very similar to some of his earlier work.
Is it ambient?
Well, ambient is kind of an odd word, especially the way Aphex uses it.
Are there lyrics, I guess?
There aren't a lot of lyrics. Some of them do have lyrics. Most of them do not, more than some looping clips. So as far as if your term ambient is no words, electronic, and kind of chill, then yeah, it's very ambient in the term of Selected Ambient Works Volume 1. There is a Volume 2 which goes more into the really mellow, no percussion, no drums at all, except for some pieces that are all drums.
Yeah.
The Brian Eno type of airport music ambient. There's not really any of that on this album, but there's 15 tracks. Most of them are very solid tracks. If you like Aphex, you'll be pleased with these. There's a couple. One of them is named Popeye, which is really interesting, almost cartoony track where it's really frenetic and very high beats per minute. It's all over the place, but it's only about a minute long. It's like he had an idea for something, but just didn't know where to go with it, so he just put out this track, this little clip. There's another one called Aphex Tribal Kick, which is exactly what it says on the tin. It's just a tribal drum loop with a sort of a computery sounding Aphex spoken throughout it. That's another one that's only about a minute. But other than those two tracks and the final track, which I'll get to in a minute, it's all very solid electronic, danceable tracks with a lot of acidy quality. And by acid, I don't mean going on a trip. I mean a very specific sound. I believe it's made by a 303, but I'm not a complete expert, and I didn't do my homework, and I've already had a couple of beers already. But it's a specific instrument that makes a squelchy, squeaky sound that once you hear it, you'll recognize it. There's a lot of that classic Aphex acid in there. A lot of the tracks. One thing Aphex is good at is building a mood and kind of painting a picture with the tracks themselves. Track 2 is called Stomper, and the best way to describe this track is imagine an iron boot factory with Little Mouse frantically scrambling around the iron boot factory, trying not to get squashed by stomping robot workers. I mean, you can go on to YouTube. This is, as soon as it was released, it was all over YouTube. So, much to the chagrin of the music forum, who kind of just wanted it for themselves and didn't want anybody else to listen to it ever. But it just, he paints pictures with the sounds almost. That track has very hard industrial sounding drums, and not by the genre industrial, like actually you're in a factory. There's a lot of metallic clangs and stomps, and that's on a lot of the tracks on this. A very, almost sounds like a blacksmith is your percussionist, which is kind of cool. Another, really the best song on the whole CD is well, it's not a CD, but it's digital only. It's a track 9, Squidge in the Fridge, which is a ridiculous title, but as part of the Kickstarter, Richard agreed to name each of these tracks as kind of a bonus. So before, this was just a white label with a bunch of tracks on it. A couple of people had heard it. I believe a DJ named Music had listened to it and put a kind of a review of each of the tracks. And this one here he didn't like. He said it was kind of a childish acid line and a really simple piano riff, but there was a little bit of that Aphex in the background that reminded you of his glory days, and other than it being a crap track, I do agree this could be an outtake to Selected Ambient Works Volume 1.
Yeah, I mean he has thousands of tracks from what I gathered.
Yeah, he's got a whole bunch of tracks just sitting in the vaults. And honestly, here's another conspiracy theory. A lot of people think that this was done on purpose by Warp and Richard D. James's own label, Reflex, to kind of prime the pump for the new Zero album.
Oh.
To get people talking about Aphex again and get people excited, and then boom, all of a sudden we see, hey, here's some blimps in London, and here's some stencils on the ground, and oh, hey, look, there's a new album. But
yeah, here's Aphex Twin's new single, 4-bit 9D API plus E plus 6.
Yeah.
that's one of the song titles from Zero.
Yeah, he's got some interesting titles.
Yeah, I'll never forget when in somewhere around the late 90s there was a show that was briefly on MTV, which was like a jury would decide which video would live or die on MTV, and they had Come to Daddy, that video, ruled that show for a few weeks.
Oh yeah,
just because it's so damn weird.
That is the
and
classic.
You may know, the casual Aphex Twin fan may not be familiar with the music, but they probably are familiar with either images from that video or the famous image of his face put on a large-breasted woman in a bathing suit.
For Window Licker.
The Window Licker EP or single. And it's disturbing, but it's great,
Yeah, Aphex is good for disturbing videos. The Window Licker video is actually way more disturbing than that picture. But the best thing about this album, though, is it's not a classic album. It's not a great album, and I can see why he didn't release it, because there's a lot of stuff on here that he'd done before, and by the time this was ready to come out, I mean, he's going into the Richard D. James album with Boy Girl Song, and he's going into the Window Licker EP, Come to Daddy EP, and all this older stuff, it's been done. He didn't really need to throw it out, but it's a good time capsule to see all of these tracks see the light of day now, because you see a lot of his earlier tracks in this. For example, there's a few drum and percussion sounds that are literally exactly the same as tracks on Selected Ambient Works. So you get to see how all of this stuff ties in together, and then you get to see new things, like a song called Jazz Phase, which is basically Richard D. James smooth jazz, which you've never seen that side of him before. The best thing on the album, though, is the final track entitled Phone Pranks, which is basically two prank phone calls he made to some of his fellow musician friends. What he did was call one of his friends on one phone line, and then call another one of his friends on another phone line, and then patch the two calls together so they'd answer the phone, and they're all of a sudden talking to each other, and they have no idea what is going on.
Aphex Twin meets the Junkie
Exactly.
Boys.
And it's the kind of humor that the first time you hear it, it's great, and then the third or fourth time you hear it, it's like, okay, well, that's a thing. But that 10th time you hear it, the 15th time you hear it, it just gets funnier and funnier every time you hear it. So that's really one of my highlights on the.
So you highly recommend Dave's seal of approval. Sounds like. Definitely.
Oh yeah. Well, anything Aphex, I'm in love with right now. But phone pranks is class.
I've been trying to really love the new Weezer album. Everything will be all right in the end. Unfortunately, it's sort of a continuation of, I don't know, the downfall of Weezer. Have you ever seen a photograph of me from my blog or anything? I mean, I have black frame glasses. I've sort of molded my life around the look of Rivers Cuomo, and it's just sad. I'm a huge Weezer fan up till the Black Album, Make Believe. And while this album does have some tracks, basically whenever he is self-referential, whenever you realize he's talking about Weezer in the band and in the song, you just forget it. It's one of these songs that you're never really going to quite understand. When he's talking about himself, or maybe even not about himself, like a character or a third person, not himself, it's excellent. It's better than average chance that song's going to be good. So I mean, it's not the worst Weezer album, which is a statement. These last couple, Ratitude and Hurley. I mean, I couldn't tell you a song from each, whereas I could, maybe sing to you the Blue Album. I don't know. But he was recently, Rivers Cuomo was on Mark Maron's podcast, and it was an interesting listen to try to get to learn more about his pre-Weezer life, which sounds pretty interesting. His parents were his parents separated, and that's pretty much the inspiration for a lot of Weezer's music. But the podcast was definitely a neat look into his life outside of Weezer. It's sort of sad that it sort of sounds like when Rivers Cuomo is a happy person, the music suffers, unfortunately. I would recommend it. I guess if you're a Weezer completist, you have to have it. But casual fans will know the single, Back to the Shack. If you ever listen to modern radio, it's on there pretty nonstop. But, even that is just referencing songs from the first album, so it's sort of disappointing.
Yeah, I think everyone loves the Blue Album, especially if you're born in a certain time period. But yeah. I don't know. I've sort of fallen away from Weezer. I've heard their big songs, but I haven't really listened to the albums recently. But you're the expert. I'll go with.
Just not get my seal of approval. I'm sorry.
Well, listen to Aphex instead.
So as we mentioned earlier in the podcast, that I moved to the Atlanta area over the summer, and previous to this, I've been living in Lawrence, Kansas, just on the Kansas side of Kansas City, and I guess all it took was me leaving for the Royals to step it up, and as I talk now, they're leading in the 9th inning of Game 3, and they have a good chance of pulling something out here. But so I've been a collector of the Royals, sort of as an adopted team, for a few years. Of course, my actual Royals cards are not with me at the moment. It's sort of like the perils of moving, but I could be writing so many posts. But it's interesting to see. Since I got back into card collecting, this is the first time like a team that I've really collected has done something interesting in terms of baseball, and I'm enjoying it. Do you root for the Royals or the Giants?
Not the Giants. Buster Posey was out.
Yeah.
He's still out. He will always be out. We will all be in heaven, and God will say, Buster, I love you, but you were out. So, I am definitely rooting for the Royals, although I'm afraid to say it because I'm a big old jinx.
Yeah.
But I haven't jinxed them yet unless they blow it in the ninth, and then if they do, then it's my fault. But I'm just amazed that the Royals are there.
Yes.
Because normally you just don't see that happen in baseball. From for a team going from 29 years of nothing to all of a sudden having a giant hot streak, and they're about to win another game. They've lost one game in the entire postseason after going into through the wild card, barely. So I'm just impressed that they're doing it. I know a few Kansas City fans just through Twitter and blogs online, so I'm happy for them. I'm also glad the Cardinals are not in it, because I really don't like the Cardinals, because they've kind of screwed our team many times, and they weren't gracious doing it. I will say that the Giants beat us up, but they did applaud Bobby Cox after that series. So give them a little credit. Giants are kind of classy, but I don't want them to win. I really want the Royals to win, but we'll see what happens.
Hi, this is Matt F. interrupting here. Dave and I recorded over 3 hours of podcasts for our pilot episode, so we're going to split this up into a couple different parts. Part 2 will be probably out next week, and we'll have a lot more card information and pop culture commentary. Thanks for listening to the premiere episode of the Trading Card Preservation Society. Meeting adjourned.